Is this Canada's 2008? Well, a follower recently sent me this Reddit post from 2006 that is so accurate. I think we have to respect what this person says in this post. So I'm going to go through this, and then I've actually graphed out a scenario to Vancouver real estate in regards to this scenario here on Reddit. Okay. So this guy says, I agree with you that real estate busts happen in slow motion as compared to stock market bubbles. However, the exact same psychology is in play and the result for speculators is the same. Here are the signs of an impending crash in any market, whether it's tulips, stocks, or real estate. 1. There's a rapid increase in prices, already happened in real estate. 2. There are a large number of speculators entering the market, already happened in real estate. This is 2006, by the way, he posted this. 3. There is talk that somehow this time things are different and that the bubble won't burst, currently happening and always wrong. 4. Smart money gets out near the top. In brackets, big developers cutting prices to lower inventory and decreasing number of new starts. This is starting in my opinion. And 5. Newbie speculators continue to get in even after the top. They get in because everyone but them is getting rich. In their mind, this is where we are now. Historically, real estate busts take about 4 years to play out from top to bottom, meaning that the prices won't bottom until about 2010. The typical price drop is about 20%. We're at about negative 15% right now on the HPI. So if this is true, roughly another negative 5% to go if we follow this scenario. It can take 6 to 12 years total before prices recover to the pre-bust high. So by 2015, prices should rebound to their current levels, which I think is what actually happened, right? I think this is his depiction of what he thinks is going to happen in this graph, because obviously this is 2006 and this goes all the way out to 2034. But here in Vancouver, prices started going up rapidly, kind of around 2015, 2016, 2015, sometime around there. Finally, anyone that is familiar with technical analysis can look at a chart of inflation-adjusted housing prices and see that the real estate market is in a very long-term uptrending channel. Each time prices reach the top of the channel, they will descend back to the bottom. This is very predictable, and we are now at the top of the channel. I'm not predicting gloom and doom or any other doomsday scenario. I'm only predicting that history will repeat itself as it always does. The vast majority of new investors will exit the market, and real estate investment will once again slip into obscurity until the next boom, which should be about 2020. So there are no real estate investors right now, very few. This is nothing to fear, just an opportunity to decide how you will profit from the downturn. So looking at this chart, he made this post somewhere around here, but basically at the top of the market. And like, he's pretty bang on, dude, when you look at this. So he predicted that prices would fall, things would actually get oversold, and we would drop below this channel. This is US real estate. So things got so bad in 08, prices actually dropped below the channel for a brief amount of time. This was largely because you couldn't even get a loan if you wanted to buy real estate. Like, a loan wasn't available to you. Like, people were literally buying. I remember hearing a story where somebody bought a couple detached homes in Detroit on their credit card because they were like $2,500 at that time. So he was just buying them on his credit card because you couldn't get a mortgage, right? So pretty crazy, right? But here he has it graphed all the way out, and he thinks in 2006 the peak of the next housing cycle is going to be 2022, right? And we did have somewhat of a blow off top somewhere around here in Canada in 2015. But he's pretty bang on. He says, summer in 2022, prices will peak. We will roll over as we enter recession. Now, some people will say he's wrong. We actually did have 2 negative quarters of GDP growth in 2022, if you guys remember. And people were calling it, yeah, we're in a technical recession, but we're not actually in a recession because unemployment isn't rising, right? But they actually changed the definition of what a recession is. We were in a recession, and I'd argue that we probably already are in a recession, because who trusts all the data that actually comes out from the government? Because it's like, yeah, we had 400,000 jobs last month added to the economy, and then they'll like revise it to like 80,000 jobs 3 months later or something like that, right? I'm not too well versed on these numbers, but regardless, I think he's bang on. Prices did peak in 2022. We did actually go into a recession at some point. They just changed the definition of recession. And then he has prices coming down, bottoming basically at the end of 2026, close to 2027, and then trading flat for, 6 months a year before they return their rally upwards and then peaking out again in 2034. So I've taken the time to actually graph this out in respects to our real estate market of Greater Vancouver. Now, he had the whole US market, like the whole country. This is just one market in the whole country. But our markets here in Canada are acting so differently. It'd be very difficult to do it with Canada overall as a whole, because you have like Atlantic Canada is going up, Alberta's going up, Saskatchewan, Manitoba are going up, and it's basically just Toronto and Vancouver are pretty much the only markets that are going down right now, right? So I'm doing it with Vancouver, all right? So there are a lot of different ways you could draw these trend lines. Every trader draws the trend lines different. I chose to pick the top here because I feel like it would be ridiculous to have the line kind of graphing on the 2016 top and going all the way up here. And I think it would make more sense to just say we got overbought in 2016 and we also got slightly overbought in 2021. So we actually exited the trend for a short period of time, I think is more plausible than trying to say, you know, I pick this as the top and then we never reached the top of the channel in 2021. You know what I mean? Like, what would it take to reach the top of the channel? Interest rates were like nothing, right? So I think this is more plausible. So let's run this exercise and see what this actually looks like, okay? So here we are right now. We're going to apparently bottom sometime towards the end of 2026 into 2027. So I'm picking this time around to be the time that we drop below this channel, right? So let's say we bottom somewhere around here. Then we're going to come out of this. This is all guesswork. And maybe something happens that causes another parabolic rise here in 2034. Obviously, this is ridiculous. Probably wouldn't look like this, but close enough, all right? According to the way this guy has graphed out this channel, we would look something like this, right? So in Vancouver, we're currently trading around 1.1, like 114 or something like that. And according to the way things played out in 08, we would be, you know, about another 100 grand coming off of the current prices right now before rallying all the way up to about $2.1 million in 2034, which is now 9 years. Typically, Vancouver doubles about every 10 years. Right? So if we're at 1,040,000 and then we go to 2.1 sometime in 2034, that would actually line up perfectly with historically what our market has done, because that is a doubling over the next 9 years. Now, there are a bunch of different ways you could have graphed this. Again, this line could have been higher, it could have been lower, but I think this makes sense. And this is kind of what we would be looking at if this gentleman on Reddit is right. And there are a lot of similarities with 2008 and what's currently happening right now. Like, as an example, if I pull up stagflation, there's a lot of talk about stagflation right now because inflation is starting to rebound. A lot of people think inflation has bottomed at this point. And if you start searching up the term for stagflation, this is Google Trends in 2008, you can see a lot of people are searching stagflation in 2008. Well, why were they searching stagflation? Because the government or the Fed started cutting rates when inflation was about 3%. And then sometime during the middle of that cut cycle or towards the end of that cut cycle, inflation actually peaked at 5.6% as they were cutting before crashing down and actually entering deflation. So right now, people in Canada think inflation has bottomed and we're going to get a stagflationary environment where prices and interest rates are rising, which is like the worst possible scenario that could happen. But that's not what happened in 2008. What happened in 2008 is a lot of bad shit happened. And then we actually had to drop interest rates really, really fast. And then inflation dropped along with interest rates, right? So, you know, I'm willing to bet, you know, we've had a couple months of rising inflation in the States that you're going to start seeing a lot more people try to search for the term and be like, what is stagflation, right? And you're probably going to see this rise in the next couple months if we keep getting higher inflation readings. So is this Canada's 2008? I don't know. But if it was, you could see something like this. Prices could drop even lower. I mean, that's what the real estate crash people would want me to say. But if we actually followed what this guy said on Reddit and we applied it to Vancouver, you would be looking at home prices dropping another 100 grand in Vancouver before then peaking out again in 2034 at 2.1 million bucks. If you thought this was an interesting video, please like and subscribe. And if you want to chat with me about buying or selling in the Fraser Valley, you can book a call using the link down in the description. I'm that Agent Kelly. I'll make moves to move you. Peace.